How are you guys?
Not bad. Yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for taking the time to call in. I know the tour kicks off early July, and that does include a stop here in Flint at the Machine Shop July 19th, and those tickets are on sale now. I'm going to start by talking about the new album, Spec, not even a week since it's been out, the release date on June 7th. I'm digging the record, and as a fan, I feel like it's the same vein as In Stereo or T-Surfing, which are albums I love. I love Emily, I'll Make You Dance, and of course, how can you not love It Only Hurts When I Pee? So with that being said, I feel like there are some differences, some pretty personal notes on the new album, as well as topics such as homelessness on Days Gone, if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, this record sort of ended up being, it didn't start out to be so thematic, but it ended up being. And, the title Spec, meaning that we're all specks in the universe, and that nature and, everything, politics, the animal kingdom, the solar system are so much bigger than we are. And so it's a bunch of songs that are about how we're just these little humans. And we're up against some pretty big things, both personally and globally. And that's what it ended up being. And it was produced by Jeff Emmerich, who was the Beatles engineer, starting with Revolver all the way to the end of their career. So he was familiar with that kind of record. So.
And I'm guessing that your album may have been one of the last things that he worked on since his passing.
I think it was the last one, or at least the last one he produced.
Right.
Yeah, I think for sure it was definitely the last full-length record he did. A lot of the things he was doing towards the end was doing these classes where he would kind of teach people recording and producing techniques and stuff that he had done kind of all his career. And so he hadn't been doing a lot of records, but he was making his way back kind of into the consciousness of, the record-making community.
Sure.
And so we were really fortunate to have a chance to work with him. And part of working with him was hearing stories about some of the records that he had done in the past, things that he had done. And, it was really a enlightening experience.
How cool is that? Stories from Engineering Strawberry Fields, Abbey Road. I can't even imagine.
Well, pretty much all of his stories were, like Paul did something. It was just like, oh yeah, Paul did this or Ringo did this, and it's like that was kind of most of his stories. And that was his. He was still a teenager when he started working with the Beatles.
Wow.
So his whole formative life, was built around working with those guys and being a partner with them and making those records. And it was really, a big thing for him, and he always loved it. And but at the same time, he was always English, so he could always complain about some aspect of doing something amazing.
So you said the album is named Spec because basically we all are just little specks in the world. So what is the significance of the card on the album cover?
Well, there's a guy named Matt Cullen, who's a good friend of ours. He runs a post-production place, and they do a lot of graphic design and things like that, animation, all kinds of things. So since we're the opposite of people who can do design and art, we called Matt for our last couple of records and said, hey, could you help us out here? And so he put a few things together, and he had about maybe 11 or 12 different record cover designs based on the name of the album and the theme of it. And this was the one that just stood out. It was so striking. It's like, when you see Dark Side of the Moon and you see that prism.
Oh, yeah.
It's you want something that kind of, obviously nothing's ever going to approach that, but this was something that was more striking than the rest of it. It looked more iconic. And then, at first, we were like, okay, well, how does this fit into what this record means? And we read up on it a little bit. Well, it turns out the spade, which is on the card there, is about the struggle and the question of life and death, and the sort of getting to the end of your days and all this kind of stuff. And so that's actually what it means. And just sort of the struggle between life and death. And also, it's got, if you notice, it has little stains and specks of stuff on it. So it's like you imagine all the DNA, all the people who have handled that card over the years, and we leave a little part of us with it, or the coffee stain, or whatever it was. And
right.
And so thematically it worked also. So it was really lucky.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Again, the new record is really great. I love like the 60s kind of vibe to it to me, and I hope you take this as a compliment. I hear a Tom Petty vibe to it.
Oh, yeah. Huge compliment.
Absolutely.
Well, good. I'm glad. And
I have to say something, Maggie. You're the first interviewer that has brought up some of the records like Keep Surfing or In Stereo. They were really released on kind of our little run record label. And so, they were just basically available at our shows. And so if anybody's actually heard those, it's really a thrill for us.
Well, I have. Oh, I love Emily. And again, when I brought up It Only Hurts When I Pee, which is great because I'm familiar with your book, too, the tape recordings. And I love that you were almost going to call that book that. I think it's really, I love it. I love it. What a title. So, again, if you are just tuning in, I'm talking with Billy Bob Thornton and J.D. Andrew from the Boxmasters. The guys will be at the Machine Shop on July 19th. Tickets are still available. There's VIP meet and greets that are available. And before I let you guys go, well, first of all, thank you for calling in, but I wanted to give you big props, too, for your cover of Sylvia's Mother for the Shel Silverstein tribute album. It was great.
Oh, cool. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we play that sometimes live.
Ooh, fingers crossed that you do when you come to Flint. And definitely, I would like to extend the invitation. If you guys get into town early enough to pop in the studio, it would be great to see you.
Oh, no, that's great. And please do come to the show.
I will be there with bells on. Thank you guys so much. I really dig the new album. You guys pick it up. It's spec. You will not be let down. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maggie. See you soon.